G'day guys, my name's James. Today I'm going to show you how to install some LED light bars to your reverse lights. Today we're going to use a Toyota Hilux as an example. It's generally the same with all models. Let's get started. Alright, here's some stuff we're going to need. First off, we're going to need some light bars. If you buy from Australia, they're going to charge you a fortune, so I get mine off eBay. These are about $40 for 60 watts, which is plenty. Next, we're going to need some wiring. I use 2-core double insulated. We're going to need a soldering iron, some solder and some flux to connect all your wiring, some brackets. Brackets will depend on your application. These work perfect for mine, you'll have to work it out yourself unfortunately. We're going to need some basic hand tools, maybe some spanners and stuff as well, depending on how your taillights come out. Some heat shrink to protect your wiring, and further off, some conduit.
These are the brackets I've come up with. As you can see, it's just a pre-made metal plate from my local hardware store and a couple of U-bolts to suit. I'm using double nuts for locking.
The first thing we're going to tackle today is our wiring. To do that, we're going to have to get behind the tail light. On this model, this is a 2008 Toyota Hilux. It's just got 2 bolts there and there. Every car has different mounting, you're going to have to consult your own guides. This is a 10mm. I'm using a spanner. Ratchet. This thing. Every time you pull out a bolt, put it somewhere safe. After you have the mounting removed, the item will slide out. Some models will require a bit of jiggling. Behind that, you'll have all your wiring harness here. To do that, push down on your clips and it should just pop out. Now what we're going to have to do, this is our reverse light. Flip it over, that's your plug. You've got a wiring harness on this, so you're going to have to trace it. We've got a white wire and we've got a red wire. Follow that back to your plug here. We've got the white wire there, we've got our red wire there. From here, we're going to have to match it up with the wiring harness from the car. Match it up sort of so it sits how it normally would. The red wire here is our middle pin, so we find our middle pin on the wiring harness. The middle pin on this is a black wire. That's the wire we're going to be tapping into.
Undo the factory wiring tape to expose and access the wires we need. Next, pull the wires apart and find the ones we'll be using. Feed your new wiring into your conduit. This will add extra protection.
Alright, so we're going to need to run our wire. To do that, this is a super simple model. There's a hole right there, so if you go straight down, feed it through, grab it on the other side, Bob's your auntie. Pull through as much as you'll need. You'll probably need as much to get through halfway. It's about that-ish. Alright, I've skipped ahead and I've assembled my LED light bar and I've mounted it to my bracket. The reason I've skipped ahead is because every application will be different, every light bar will be different. You're going to have to fudge that yourself. The way I'm mounting this is I'm using U-bolts and a metal plate. And then I'm going to attach that to my tow bar here. So the only thing you'll see is the light bar itself.
Every mounting application will vary. You might even be able to use the mounting equipment supplied with no additional brackets. In my case, I've used a tow bar and a U-bolt to clamp my brackets on. Use the nuts supplied with your U-bolts to tighten your brackets in place. Ensure they're in the correct spot before tightening. It's a good idea to try and move the bracket by hand to ensure it's on tight. Use a second nut as a lock nut. This will prevent it from coming loose from vibrations.
Okay, now we're actually going to connect our wiring. The first thing we want to do, get all your wiring from your LED lights, twist them together like that, get some of your heat shrink, a nice big fat one, stick that over the top of both of them and feed it through. See if you can pull it through, might make it easier. If it cooperates, there we go. Oh, stop being stubborn. That'll probably do. Alright, so we get that like that. So that's our first bit of heat shrink on there, so they're all together. We get our wiring from our reverse light. Obviously, we'll just connect our red wires together, they're both our positives. We'll connect our black wires together, they're our neutrals or negatives, whatever you want to call them. Then we'll get some smaller heat shrink, stick that over your wiring here as well. Might actually cut that a bit shorter. Same with the other side. Alright, so now we have that. So you've got from here, what we're going to do is we're going to attach this wiring to our other wiring. Then we're going to solder them together.
I use additional flux to help the solder join. This is optional, but good practice if available. Remember to have all your heat shrink in place before soldering, otherwise you'll have to start all over. Back at your car's wiring harness, cut the wires we need. Remember to trace the wires from your taillight and match it with your car's harness. Solder your new wires into your harness. Before sealing the heat shrink, test the lights to make sure everything works. Once you're satisfied that everything works, seal up all the joins with the heat shrink and some electrical tape.
Now we've got everything finished off and all taped up, we're ready to put things back together. So we'll get our taillight, get your wiring harness here, and push that in. Make sure you get it really in there, because that's the last thing you want coming out. Slide that in there when it starts cooperating and bolt her up. And just finish up by zip tying our wires up just to sort of neaten things up. Just have a couple, you don't have to go extreme. All things going well, our light should now work.
We've gone from just having standard lights, providing a grainy, undetailed image, to having auxiliary LED lights giving a much clearer and extensive view behind us. Here's how I installed it on a 2010 Holden Commodore. Exact same setup really, just the mounting is slightly different. As you can see there underneath there, I haven't had to use any additional brackets, I've just used the ones that have come with it. I've bolted straight into the spare wheel will sit just above that. So I've come in and I've installed those there. I've gone under the carpet in here, so you lift that up. I've got it sub there, so it's a bit hard for me to show you, but that lifts up. And then same deal again, follow your wiring along under here, it pulls up under here. You can pull all this down, and then your wiring is in there, which I've tapped into as well. So same sort of setup. These ones are a bit more hidden, which I like. It's just an idea of what you can do as well.
Ah, crap.
Why did you pull it down?